Okay, for posterior pituitary, that is easy because it only secretes two hormones. The antidiuretic hormone, ADH, and the oxytocin. ADH, also known as vasopressin. So we'll talk about the function of the two hormones later. And then, so the hypothalamus produces these two hormones, ADH, antidiuretic hormone, and oxytocin. ADH, aka vasopressin, and after hypothalamus produces these two hormones, you go down to posterior pituitary. Well, ADH, as the name suggests, it is antidiuretic. That means it will decrease the volume of your urine. Oxytocin has several functions that we'll talk about. For example, it will induce uterus contraction, and then it will also induce the milk ejection from the breast during nursing. So ADH. When we have, when our blood become more concentrated, or when we are dehydrated. When we are dehydrated, it will increase the concentration of the blood. What happens is that ADH will cause the increased reabsorption of water. Remember our lecture on the urinary system? Increased reabsorption of water in the kidneys. And then water will reabsorb, meaning that from going from the kidney back to the blood, then hopefully it will causes the blood concentration to go back to normal. Then we can stop secreting ADH. Oxytocin causes uterine contraction and milk letdown during lactation. Oxytocin is released during pregnancy, especially at the end of the pregnancy, when the uterus is being stretched too much or having the pressure from the growing fetus. That will tell the brain to start to secrete oxytocin to induce a contraction. And the more contraction and irritation, the more oxytocin to be secreted, and this is an example of positive feedback. So what will be another example of positive feedback? Well, to answer the question from the last video, which hormone, peptide hormone or steroid hormone, which hormone will have a faster effect? So the answer to that question will be the peptide hormone. Peptide hormone uses the cyclic AMP signaling cascade, which has the amplification process. The amplification process is so it can at least amplify at least 1,000-fold. Actually, in my physiology class, my student calculated it can go all the way up to 100,000-fold. Because of that, the effect is faster than transcription and translation, because transcription and translation, the fastest it can bring about the effect is like 24 hours later. It takes approximately at least 24 hours to make a protein. So that's why the peptide hormone is faster. Portal system. So in the anterior pituitary is not part of the hypothalamus. It is a separate organ, but it's just attached on the surface of the posterior pituitary. So it has two capillary network connected by veins, and then between the portal system connects the hypothalamus and anterior pituitary. Hypothalamus produces hypothalamic releasing hormone or hypothalamic inhibiting hormone. So the releasing hormone tells the anterior pituitary to release hormone, and the inhibiting hormone tells the anterior pituitary to stop releasing certain hormones. So anterior pituitary, it is the second in command in the endocrine system. It secretes a lot of different hormones. For example, it secretes a thyroid-stimulating hormone, TSH. TSH acts directly on the thyroid gland to tell the thyroid gland to secrete thyroid hormone. And then we have adrenocorticotropic hormone, ACTH. ACTH, as the name suggested, adrenocortical. That means it works on adrenal cortex to tell the adrenal cortex to produce glucocorticoid. An example of glucocorticoid is cortisol. And then we have gonadotrophic hormones. Gonadotrophic hormone, namely, the anterior pituitary will secrete FSH and LH. FSH stands for follicle-stimulating hormone. LH stands for luteinizing hormone. These two hormones, we call them gonadotropic hormones. So, as the name suggests, gonadotropic, trophic meaning growing or feeding. So you make our gonads grow. So these two hormones will stimulate our gonads to mature and also to produce estrogen and testosterone. So this is the axis that you will see. This is basically a general theme that you will see repeatedly in many different endocrine pathways. So hypothalamus secrete a releasing hormone to anterior pituitary, and the anterior pituitary will secrete a stimulating hormone to the target gland. And the target gland will secrete the target gland hormone, hormone 3. So it is this a 3 level of control, and then the target hormone can have a negative feedback to both the NPIT, anterior pituitary, or hypothalamus. So the negative feedback is occurs all the time in this endocrine system. So these 3 pituitary hormones, they don't affect other glands. They don't have. So what it means is that after NPIT secrete the hormone, and then they will directly work on an organ that does not secrete further hormone. For example, anterior pituitary can secrete prolactin. Prolactin will work on mammary glands. Mammary glands will start to synthesize or produces milk. So make sure that you know the differences between prolactin and oxytocin. Prolactin induces the production of milk. Oxytocin induces the letdown or injection of milk. Melanocyte stimulating hormone, MSH, they stimulate the melanocyte to make the pigment. So it does not tell the melanocyte to make further hormone. It only tells it to make more pigment. And growth hormone. Growth hormone stimulate bone and muscle to grow, and also increases protein synthesis and fat metabolism. It doesn't tell other part of the body to secrete more hormones. It only tells the part of the body to grow. So this picture kind of summarizes what we just talked about. It's basically telling you that our hypothalamus will go through this. This is called a portal system. It's a bunch of blood vessels, and then you go to the posterior pituitary. And then from the portal system, the hormone will go to the anterior pituitary, telling the anterior pituitary to secrete another hormone to the downstream target gland, and then the downstream target gland, they can secrete further more hormone. We kind of talk about the posterior pituitary. You only secrete two hormones, the oxytocin and ADH. ADH works on kidney. Oxytocin will induce a uterine contraction and milk letdown. And then for this part, anterior pituitary can secrete a thyroid-stimulating hormone to stimulate thyroid gland, so the thyroid gland will secrete thyroid hormone. And then anterior pituitary will secrete ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. This ACTH will stimulate adrenal cortex to secrete cortisol, which is a form of glucocorticoid. And then anterior pituitary will secrete prolactin hormone to tell the breast to make milk, to synthesize milk. And then it will secrete growth hormone as well to tell to have bone growth or tissue growth. Last but not least, it will secrete gonadotropic hormone, for example, FSH or LX, follicle-stimulating hormone or luteinizing hormone. These two hormones will tell the gonads, namely ovary and testes, to mature and grow. Namely to make a female hormone and to make more gametes. So we'll go through this one by one in the next slides, in the next video.